Kombat's been around for over 3 decades, and sadly, I'm old enough to know that they have one of the heaviest villain rosters in all of gaming. But yeah, the first name that comes to the top of most casual fans' minds is probably Goro. And that makes a lot of sense because for a generation of players, Goro was the Mortal Kombat threat. It felt like he was nearly undefeatable. However, once you get deep enough into the lore, you'll understand that Goro was just the muscle, and today, we're going way deeper than muscle. So grab your popcorn as we break down the 8 most diabolical and cosmically threatening villains in all of Mortal Kombat. Let's begin. Shao Kahn. Let's start with the king. Quite literally, Shao Kahn is the Emperor of Outworld, and he's the central villain of the Mortal Kombat saga. There's no question about that. The throne he sits on, he took it. Yeah, he was actually the royal advisor and the protector of Outworld under the Dragon King Onaga millennia ago. That position was a huge responsibility, and how did he repay that trust? He poisoned Onaga and took the kingdom for himself. He's a calculating, conniving mess, and we love every minute of it. He acts with absolute ruthlessness because the moment he got the throne, he started expanding. Realm after realm was absorbed into his empire, including Edenia, the legendary realm known for its beauty and mystical power. Sure, it fell after his warriors won 10 consecutive Mortal Kombat tournaments, but you get my point. He invaded Edenia on the battlefield, killed King Jerrod, took Queen Sindel for his empress, and turned Princess Kitana, Jerrod's daughter, to his own personal assassin. And then there's his obsession with Earthrealm. Oh boy. That's the whole storyline for Mortal Kombat 2 and 3. When Liu Kang defeated his champion in the Shaolin tournament, Kahn and Shang Tsung planned to get the Earth's warriors to Outworld, and when that didn't work, he resurrected Sindel on Earth's soil so that he could march his armies directly to Earthrealm. And during this invasion, he defeated Kung Lao, the Kung Lao, with a single energy blast. He very nearly succeeded in that invasion after he got North America. That's what makes him so terrifying, you know? He's intelligence, and that intelligence is his weapon. He rose above the preconceived notion of being just a warlord by using dark arts and political deals. He literally created beings like Ermac and Scarlet. I mean, this man survived his assassination by faking his own death with a magical clone. Say what you want about him, but for our money, Shao Kahn defined the conflict of Mortal Kombat by enduring and coming back every time despite everything. He's the reason why Mortal Kombat matters. Shang Tsung. And since we mentioned him already, let's talk about Shang Tsung. He's been there since the very beginning because there would be no Mortal Kombat without Shang Tsung. He is, after all, the architect of the tournament itself. He's a sorcerer who is cursed to constantly consume the souls of defeated opponents to sustain his youth and power. This started out as a curse, but over the years, Shang Tsung got kinda used to it, even building his entire life around it. Over the years, he's accumulated thousands of souls, and each one made him stronger and expanded his abilities because, hey, once he absorbs a soul, he can transform into the opponent he kills. So basically, he's one of the most versatile combatants in any realm at any given time, and that's why him being the head of the Mortal Kombat tournament makes sense. And for centuries, he ran that competition as a trap. Every single match was a way to consume more souls. 500 years, he watched Goro eliminate competitor after competitor fed on the carnage. Why would anyone say no to free food? And then along came Liu Kang, who went ahead and ruined the streak. 500 years of investment gone because of this one man. So of course, Shang Tsung was on his knees and begged Shao Kahn for his life. And once Shao Kahn spared him, he proposed a new scheme. That's the whole thing about Shang Tsung. He's always got ideas, he's always several moves ahead because he's a survivor. If suckling on Shao Kahn's bosom meant he would survive, he'd do it without a second thought. But if a better opportunity showed up, he would betray the Khan with zero regrets. And so he did. He nearly took control of Onaga's undead army for himself after his alliance with Quan Chi. And since we're on the topic, we have to talk about the 1995 Mortal Kombat film. Cary Hiroyuki Tagawa gave us a stellar performance as Shang Tsung, and this movie single-handedly made him a cultural phenomenon. He just had this sinister, regal quality that made him extremely memorable. And let's be real, as a sorcerer, only Shinnok, Shao Kahn, Quan Chi, and Delia can match his skills. Then, when the MK11 Aftermath expansion happened, we got to witness Shang Tsung being big bad on his own terms, where we saw him as the true antagonist that he always could have been. Quan Chi. If Shang Tsung was the performer, Quan Chi is the manipulator. He's a clinical guy who does everything on the sidelines, and by the time you realize this was all his doing, it's already too late. And that kind of tracks because he's a demon-born necromancer. His powers allow him to steal souls, raise the dead, create illusions, and project his consciousness across the realm so that he can watch his schemes unfold at all times. He's one of very few beings who can move between realms without detection by the Elder Gods, and because of that, he could commit centuries of atrocities without consequence. And the biggest act of villainy he's done has to be what happened to Scorpion. When Scorpion's clan and family were massacred, Quan Chi used the rage and grief he felt and turned him into a weapon. He revived him as an undead specter and fed him lie after lie about how this was all Sub-Zero's doing. So of course, when Scorpion met Sub-Zero, he wanted to destroy him. But you and I know that actually, Scorpion was just a puppet that Quan Chi was using. Quan Chi also manipulated the MK9 timeline, which was absolutely devastating to watch. What happened was Quan Chi went to Shao Kahn and told him to resurrect Sindel on Earthrealm's soil. Yup, that whole debacle was Quan Chi's idea. And guess what? Because of that, Sindel almost wiped out every Earthrealm champion in a single scene. The only major survivors of that wipeout were Sonya and Johnny Cage, and since Raiden had already left by that point, technically him too. There was so much destruction and so many lives lost, Quan Chi didn't even have to lift a finger. If you look at his partnership with Shinnok, you'll see that Quan Chi literally serves the Elder God because of a calculation. He helped Shinnok overthrow Lucifer and claim Netherrealm so that he could get godlike powers as payment. Shinnok! This is where the threat level shifts into cosmic territory. You see, Shinnok here, he was once an elder god. That means he was one of the primordial divine beings who govern the realms themselves. He was the god of death, son of Kronika, brother of the elder goddess Cetria. Pretty big deal if we do say so ourselves. He basically sat at the highest tier of existence, and then, like most people, he threw all of that away because he wanted more. He had desired Earthrealm for himself since the dawn of time, but he knew that he couldn't enter openly without triggering other elder gods, so what did he do? Constructed the Amulet of Shinnok, a device with unimaginable power that could weaken dimensional barriers and would allow him to invade. And then, the war that followed, oh boy, it's a horror story. The fight nearly exterminated the indigenous species of Earthrealm known as Saurians. Luckily, Raiden stepped in and he defeated Shinnok. He got rid of the amulet and Shinnok's divine status and cast him into the deepest region of the Netherrealm. Under the rule of Lucifer, Shinnok was tortured for years until he found Quan Chi. Together, they threw off Lucifer and took over Netherrealm, and Shinnok started to build his army, which we know as the Brotherhood of Shadow. When he returned in MK4, we saw him capture Edenia and wage war on the Elder Gods because he was that strong. Liu Kang eventually defeated him, and Shinnok was once again banished, but he then resurfaced in MKX and invaded the life force of Earthrealm known as Jinsei. Cassie Cage managed to stop him, but the victory cost Earthrealm a lot, and Raiden, who's arguably a pretty level-headed dude, decapitated Shinnok, kept his severed head as a warning to the other realms because he would never allow there to be another Shinnok. Onaga. You might think that the chaos in the Mortal Kombat universe started when the tournament started or when Shinnok began his rampage, but no, chaos has always been a part of Mortal Kombat lore because before all of that, you had Onaga. You see, the Dragon King was the original ruler of Outworld. His empire was basically a collection of all the most powerful realms he had conquered, and he was feared. He was feared in a way that even Shao Kahn never was, and like most villains, he wanted immortality, so he preserved the last dragon egg, believing that the blood of a young dragon would grant him eternal life. But here's the twist. Before he could do that, Shao Kahn poisoned him and took the egg for himself. However, that didn't stop Onaga. Before the events of the first Mortal Kombat game, Onaga reached beyond death itself and contacted a warrior named Shujinko through a spiritual avatar called Damashi. He convinced Shujinko that he was acting on behalf of the Elder Gods and gave him a quest to reunite the 6 Kamidogu. These Kamidogu are ancient artifacts that have profound power, and Shujinko, bless his heart, did it. He thought he was on a divine mission, but nothing could be further from the truth. Later on in the series, Quan Chi and Shang Tsung were doing what they did best, which was scheming for more power. Their genius plan was to resurrect Onaga's undead army, but what they didn't know was that in doing so, they would trigger the return of Onaga as well. That's right, folks, the Dragon King was back and meaner than ever. He inhabited the body of Reptile, claimed his army instantly, and was practically unstoppable. That forced the two schemers, Quan Chi and Shang Tsung, to join hands with Raiden to stop Onaga. And guess what? That didn't work. Raiden literally sacrificed himself to destroy the Deadly Alliance, and Onaga, he walked free. He came out of the explosion, cool dude style and everything, picked up Shinnok's amulet, and moved on with his life. His defeat finally came at the hands of Shujinko, who had to absorb all the combat techniques from every great fighter in the realms and turned them on Onaga. Imagine that. The Dragon King only went down when every warrior's powers were rained down on him. Now that's what we call a threat. Kronika. When we say that Mortal Kombat really raised the stakes with Kronika, we mean it. She's a Titan, which means she belongs to a class that predates even the Elder Gods. She's the Keeper of Time and the mother of both Shinnok and Cetrion. She's also the Architect of Destiny, so keep that in mind as we get into the nitty-gritty. Because she made the Elder God of Death and the Elder Goddess of Life, she was maintaining the cosmic balance through them, and for billions of timelines, Kronika has been resetting history whenever events deviated from her vision of balance. So every timeline, every canonical, non-canonical Armageddon outcome, she let those exist if they met her standards. She's always been behind the curtain, pulling at the strings, but then things changed in MK11. You see, in MK9 and MKX, Raiden kept interfering with the timeline so much it was disrupting Kronika's plans, so she acted personally and merged the past and the present, creating a chaos that would allow her to seize the hourglass of time and restart history from scratch without Raiden in the middle of it. And oh boy, the devastation this caused was immense. She can do things no one else can. She's immune to fatal attacks, can stop time, and literally erase people from existence. But there is a catch. If she's killed, she will never return again because that's the rule for Titans in the MK lore. She's also the first female main antagonist in the franchise's history. We're so glad she got all this hype because Kronika, our queen, deserves every bit of it. Sindel. I know, controversial villain, but hey, that's why she's on the list. In MK3, we learn her backstory and we feel sorry for her. Sindel is the Queen of Edenia, wife of the slain King Jerrod and mother of Kitana. She killed herself when Edenia fell to Shao Kahn, and Shao Kahn forcibly married her, but there was another reason why she killed herself. With her gone, there was no way Shao Kahn could have merged Earthrealm with Outer World, so she died for us. But then, Shao Kahn and his Shadow Priests resurrected her on Earthrealm during Mortal Kombat 3 as per Shang Tsung's idea, and she came back without any memories, brainwashed and acting as Shao Kahn's Empress and the loophole for invading Earth. It was only when Kitana restored her memories that Sindel turned against Shao Kahn, but at her core, she was a victim who eventually became a hero. And then Mortal Kombat 9 and 11 happened, and in the Mortal Kombat 9 timeline, Quan Chi resurrected Sindel and infused her with the stolen souls of the fallen, and in one of the most brutal sequences in that game, Sindel massacred nearly every Earthrealm champion in a single encounter. Nightwolf had to sacrifice himself to stop her. They both died in that sequence, but that wasn't the end of it. In Mortal Kombat 11, Kronika brought forward a past version of Sindel who always craved power, and that craving destroyed her. This version of Sindel found King Jerrod weak. She chose Shao Kahn willingly, and then, when Shang Tsung saw fit, he killed her along with Shao Kahn. Now, this retcon has fans split, and rightfully so. We got a powerful villain, yes, but she's also a very sad character. Every time she's on screen, we can't help but think about the queen she used to be, the person who sacrificed herself to save all of Earthrealm. That brings us to the final entry on our list, Blaze. Blaze is a strange entry on this list. I mean, he was nothing more than a burning figure in the background of Mortal Kombat 2's Pit 2 Arena. He was basically a mystery element Easter egg that art director Tony Goski decided to add, and for years, fans speculated about him. Finally, in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, we got the answer, and oh my god, it was truly something. You see, Blaze was created by an Edenian sorceress named Delia. Delia prophesied that there would eventually be a lot of combatants who would be so powerful that their conflict would tear the universe apart. So she created Blaze to monitor the fighters, and when the time came, he would act like a sleeper agent to trigger Armageddon, the final fight. He was like a cosmic safety valve essentially, but before he could fulfill that mission, he was captured by monks loyal to Onaga and made his bodyguard for the Dragon Egg. When Onaga returned, Blaze was freed, and imagine his surprise when he found out that everything Delia had said came true, and then some. The situation was much worse than anticipated, so at the summit of Pyramid Argus, Blaze stood and triggered the Armageddon. The fighter who won would get to absorb the godlike powers Blaze had. Everyone from every side got into the fight, and canonically speaking, it was Shao Kahn who defeated Blaze. He became omnipotent omnipotent, and the only reason the world was saved was that Raiden managed to send a messenger back in time that prevented all of this from happening. It's not quite a black and white situation, but we call Blaze a villain because of the threat he represents, not because of his intentions. So there you have it. From Shao Kahn to Blaze, it's quite the lineup, isn't it? Mortal Kombat villains come in various shapes and sizes and pose different flavors of threat. Some collapse kingdoms while others rewrite the timeline itself. Every layer of lore you see makes you look at Mortal Kombat in a different light, and that's what makes the franchise so interesting. Because in this world, the real threat was never who won the fight, it was always about who controlled the fate of the entire realm. Let us know which villain is your favorite in the comments section down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and as always, stay safe out there and have an amazing day. See you next time.